Hey everybody, welcome to Devote Groups, and I am so excited that we get to do this together. So I call these next 5 lessons discussions that lead to devotion. And the reason I call them that is because this isn't meant to be like a deep, Greek Bible study and exegesis on something. Really what is supposed to happen is we're going to take one of the most profound and prolific portions of Scripture, and probably the most famous, honestly, that talks about devotion and community. And we're going to break it down into 5 parts, and we're going to talk about each part. Now, what's really important is I want us to share. I want us to look at each other. I want us to have conversations around these verses. And the very first class that we're going to do today is on the subject of devotion itself. What is devotion? Devotion is such an interesting word because it's a combination between something you love and taking some action to pursue the thing that you love. And if you love something but don't pursue it, do you really love it? But if you pursue something that you don't really love, will you burn out in the process? You see, when it comes to Jesus and our Christian faith, we love Christ, we love Jesus. And that love transforms us. And we're so transformed and so grateful that we pursue him out of a love relationship with him. And that's devotion. Devotion is such an interesting word to me because you can't really, there's some parts of it you can't describe. You see it when Mary and John were at the feet of Jesus at the crucifixion. It's hard to describe. You see it with the woman that washed Jesus' feet with her hair and her tears. And I'm sure that if you read the stories of the disciples, you read it as they lived their life according to the purposes of God and gave their life in many different ways. They were martyred, but gave their life for the message that you and I get to live today. Devotion is an incredibly important word for us. And what I want you to embrace in this, and in lesson 2, we'll go a little deeper with this. I just want you to remember the reason why this is so important is because as awesome as the big church is, as awesome as we love church services, I mean, come on, we all love church services. It takes a little more than that. It takes relationships. My heart, my burden is that we all just don't have big church services to go to, but we also have relationships. I want us to talk. I want us to have relationships. And I want us to learn a little bit about what Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47 says about devoting ourselves, passionately pursuing Jesus and breaking this down, not some big lofty corporate thing, whether it's services or conferences, but breaking it down the way they did in the book of Acts when everyone got saved and then they went home. And in those streets in Jerusalem, the Jerusalem that Jesus knew, the streets that he walked on, behind closed doors after the resurrection, a movement started. Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47 is the beginning of that movement. We're talking about the birth of the greatest movement on planet Earth. This is where the local church started. This is where the movement started that you and I are a part of still today. And behind these doors, there were groups of people who were devoting themselves to Jesus, learning, relating, having community. And they're having incredible experiences. Then they'd all get together later in big services and they would celebrate what God is doing. But devotion, it doesn't always start in the big stuff. It starts right here. So let's do this, okay? Let's have discussions that lead to devotion. And my prayer for you is that all of us grow closer to Jesus in these next 5 weeks, but that we also grow closer to each other. That's the goal. So I love you and enjoy class number 1.